People always ask me why I quit security work. I used to tell them it was the hours, the pay, the boredom, but that's a lie. I quit because of what happened during my last shift at Greenvale Industrial Park. It wasn't on the news. It wasn't in any report. No one believes me anyway, but I'm going to tell it now, just once, and then I'll try to forget it all over again. Monday, 11:07 p.m. Greenvale was mostly empty now, just hollow warehouses and skeletons of factories left behind by companies that packed up and went overseas. My job was to patrol the grounds every 2 hours, check locks, report suspicious activity, and watch the monitors. Boring stuff. I liked boring. Boring kept you sane. Except that night wasn't boring. At exactly 11:07 p.m., I was staring at monitor 3, sipping stale coffee, when I saw movement in warehouse 12. The motion sensor had been tripping every night that week. Management said it was rats, but rats don't cast human-shaped shadows. I leaned in. The figure was tall, thin, and moving slowly, too slowly, like it was gliding across the concrete. I grabbed my flashlight and keys. Protocol said to wait for backup, but there was no backup, just me. Warehouse 12 was a mile from the main gate. My boots echoed against the asphalt as I walked, my breath visible in the cold night air. The sky was black, no wind, no sound, just me and that building looming in the dark. I opened the warehouse door. Inside, the smell hit me. Mold, rust, and something rotting. "Security," I called out. "If anyone's in here, identify yourself." Silence. My flashlight flicked on, weak and flickering. The beam swept across machinery covered in tarps. I walked deeper in, the door creaking shut behind me. That's when I noticed it. The temperature dropped. Not a breeze, not a draft. A full 10-degree drop, like I had stepped into a freezer. Then I heard it. Breathing. Not mine. Heavy, labored breathing. Ragged, like something that shouldn't be alive anymore. I turned and shouted, "Who's there?" Nothing. Suddenly, the flashlight died. Pitch black. I stood frozen, heart pounding. That's when I felt it. A presence behind me. I could feel eyes on my neck. I spun around, swinging the flashlight like a club. Nothing there. The breathing stopped. And then, from the far corner of the warehouse, I heard whispering. Soft, unintelligible. A dozen voices, all at once, speaking in a language I didn't recognize. My legs finally listened to my brain, and I ran. But the door was gone. Gone. I swear it. I reached out for the metal handle. Just air. I ran my hands along the wall, panicking. Nothing but cold, rotted concrete. Then the lights came on. Not the flashlight. The entire warehouse lit up in a sick, greenish hue. All at once, every bulb blinding me. And in the center of the room stood a man. Or what used to be a man.
Tall, gray skin stretched tight over bones, mouth sewn shut with black wire, eyes milky white. His chest rose and fell with unnatural heaves, as if breathing were painful. He raised one hand and pointed at me. Then the walls began to bleed. I don't know how else to describe it. The concrete seeped red, thick and slow. The smell of rust and iron filled my nose. My shoes squelched in it as I backed away. The man never moved, just pointed. And then I blinked, and it was gone. No blood, no lights, no corpse, just me standing alone in the dark with a broken flashlight. Tuesday, 1:46 a.m. Back in the security office, I stared at the monitors. Warehouse 12 was calm. No motion, no strange lights, nothing. But when I tried to review the footage, everything between 11:06 p.m. and 1:50 a.m. was gone, erased, like it never happened. I reported it, of course I did. Told my supervisor about the break-in, the weird lights, the disappearing footage. You know what he said? "We don't have a Warehouse 12." I thought he was joking. I drove back out there the next morning. That whole section of the park was fenced off. The buildings had been demolished months ago. No Warehouse 12, no footprints, no blood. But in the security office, taped under the desk, I found something that didn't belong to me. A Polaroid photo, faded and yellowed. It showed a man in a Greenvale security uniform standing in front of Warehouse 12. Same face as the thing I saw, same white eyes. On the back, scribbled in red ink, "I pointed too." I quit that afternoon. I don't care if you believe me. I don't want sympathy. I just want people to understand that some jobs ask too much of you. And some buildings, some places, remember.
I never thought temp work could be terrifying. I mean, I've worked night shifts in hospitals, warehouses, even morgues. But nothing compares to what happened when I took that job at Draycott Archives. It was supposed to be simple. 1 week covering for a night archivist who, according to the agency, left abruptly. No explanation, just left. I should have known something was off from the moment I arrived. Monday, 8:02 p.m. The Draycott building was a huge, Gothic monstrosity on the edge of town. No signs, no logos, just stone walls, heavy doors, and windows that looked like they hadn't been cleaned since the 50s. When I buzzed the front intercom, a robotic voice responded, "Welcome, temporary staff. Proceed to level -2. That's right, basement level, 2 floors underground. The elevator groaned as it descended. When the doors opened, I stepped into a long hallway lined with iron doors. At the far end, a small desk with an old computer and a chair. That was my station. No other people, no supervisors, just me and rows upon rows of ancient document storage rooms. On the desk sat a single piece of paper. Rules for night archivists. Do not open any archive doors unless instructed. If you hear knocking, ignore it. If the lights flicker, do not look up. At exactly 2:17 a.m., take a break and leave the archive floor for 15 minutes. No exceptions. Never speak to anyone you didn't see enter the building. I thought it was some kind of sick joke. I laughed out loud, actually. I stopped laughing when the lights flickered and something knocked on door 9. Monday, 1:13 a.m. I tried to distract myself by cataloging microfilm, but the air felt heavy. Like the deeper I breathed, the more my chest tightened. Every few minutes I'd hear something. Soft footsteps behind me, paper rustling in an empty room, a whisper I couldn't quite catch. Then came the knocking again. 3 slow knocks. Same door, number 9. I stared at it. The door was rusted shut. There's no way anyone was in there. And yet the knocks came again, louder this time, more urgent. I checked the security cam feed. Nothing on the monitor, nothing anywhere. Except on one of the screens, Cam 4, pointing down the east corridor, I saw a shadow, tall, thin, still, standing just outside camera view. And it was moving only when the lights flickered. 2:17 a.m. I don't know why I remembered the rule, but I glanced at the clock. 2:17 exactly. I stood up, left the desk and went into the break room upstairs. I stayed there, pacing, until the clock hit 2:32 a.m. When I came back, my chair had been turned around, facing the wall, and on the monitor, the figure, closer now, right at the door, watching the desk. Only I had never seen it move. Tuesday, 3 a.m. That night, I locked myself in the supply closet for the final hour of the shift. I told the agency the building had rats. They didn't care, just told me to show up again the next night. So I did. And that's when I found a note on the desk that hadn't been there before. You looked up. Tuesday, 11:42 p.m. I hadn't looked up. I swear, I didn't even blink during the flickers. But now I wasn't sure. What if I did? The rules didn't say what would happen, just that you shouldn't. The rest of the shift passed in silence, but every door I passed, I swear I saw the doorknobs twitch, like they were being turned from the inside. And then, while checking the final corridor, I found the camera panel ripped open, cables cut, all the feeds dead. Someone or something wanted me blind. Wednesday night. That was my last shift. I tried to quit. I told the agency I was sick, or that my father died, or whatever excuse came to mind. They told me the contract had a non-termination clause. That night, when I arrived, the desk was gone. In its place was a mirror, large, dirty, covered in old fingerprints. And behind me in the reflection, standing just a few feet away, was the shadow. But when I turned around, nothing. When I looked back at the mirror, the reflection was now smiling. It was me, but not me. The eyes were too wide, the smile too still. And it started moving, mimicking my breath, my head tilt, then continuing even when I stopped. The reflection reached toward the glass, and I ran. Now, they say the original archivist disappeared, just vanished one night during a shift. And I think I understand now. The reflection, it wants out, and it needs someone to replace it. I broke my contract. I ran, changed my phone number, moved to another city. But every mirror I pass, sometimes I catch a glimpse of something. A shape, a smile, eyes that don't blink, waiting for me to look too long. And one day, I know I will. I've been a food delivery driver for 3 years. Rain, snow, dead of night, nothing really scares me. You knock on a door, drop the food, get a tip, move on. Simple. Until that night. That one order changed everything. 9:46 p.m., Friday night. It came in through the app as a cash order, rare these days. The delivery address just said, Elmridge Estate, Building C, Unit 12. No customer name, no phone number. Weird, but not alarming. Elmridge was an old complex on the outskirts of town, mostly abandoned, the kind of place that smelled like mold and regret. I grabbed the bag, fried chicken, coleslaw, large soda, and drove out. 10:07 p.m., arrival. The estate was dark. No porch lights, no street lamps. I had to use my phone's flashlight to find Building C, tucked behind a collapsed chain-link fence. The door to Unit 12 was cracked open. I froze. Protocol said to leave the food at the door if no one answered, but this wasn't normal. I knocked lightly. Nothing. Hello? Delivery? Silence. Then, from inside, a whisper. Come in. I should have left. Every instinct screamed at me to turn around, but I stepped inside. 10:10 p.m., inside Unit 12. The apartment was freezing, like someone left the windows open all winter.
There was no furniture, no decorations, just a single chair facing the wall and a flickering TV playing static. The air smelled like burnt plastic and copper. I placed the food bag on the floor. Then I heard it, a dragging sound coming from down the hall. "Hey, your food's here," I called out, backing toward the door. No response. Just the dragging, getting louder. I turned to leave, and saw that the door was shut. I didn't shut it, and it was now locked. 10:12 p.m., the hallway. My breathing got shallow. I turned on my phone's flashlight again and walked slowly toward the sound. The hallway seemed longer than before, impossible even. The walls pulsed like they were breathing, the wallpaper peeling in strips like old skin. At the end, a doorway. No door, just darkness. Something stood there. Tall, thin, head tilted. It stepped back into the dark, inviting me. I whispered to myself, "This isn't happening. This isn't real." But my feet moved forward.
10:16 p.m. The basement. Somehow, I ended up in a staircase. Spiral, stone, leading down. There were no lights, just the weak beam of my phone. I heard the faint buzz of insects, the hum of something electrical, and a low, distorted voice whispering, "Deliver us." I don't know why I kept going. Curiosity? Fear? Something deeper? I descended. At the bottom, a steel door. No handle, just a slit where light pulsed red like a heartbeat. Then the voice came again, right in my ear. "Now you are the meal." 10:20 p.m. The room. The door opened by itself. Inside was a long room, walls covered in mirrors, but none of them showed my reflection. Instead, they showed other versions of me, different uniforms, different injuries, one with no eyes, one screaming silently, one hanging from a noose, swinging slightly. I turned to leave. But behind me, the hallway was gone. Only darkness remained. 10:24 p.m. The feeding. I dropped the food. "I don't want this job anymore," I said aloud. My voice echoed back, but distorted, like mocking me. Then something stepped into the light. It wore my face, but its smile was wrong. Lips stretched too wide, teeth far too many. Its eyes were completely black. "Thanks for the delivery," it said in my voice. Then it lunged. After, I woke up in my car. Daylight. The food bag still in the seat beside me, cold, untouched. My phone showed a delivery marked as completed at 10:26 p.m. But there's no record of the address now. No Elm Ridge Estate. Nothing on Google Maps. The building doesn't exist anymore. My reflection is back. But sometimes when I blink, I catch its face instead of mine. And I swear the bag in the seat still smells like blood. I used to work the night shift at a small, aging hotel just outside the city. It wasn't glamorous. Mostly truckers, lost tourists, and the occasional couple too tired to keep driving. It paid the bills, and I liked the quiet. But something changed the night I got the call about room 313. Only room 313 didn't exist. 11:42 p.m., Tuesday. It was a slow night. One guest checked in around 8, then nothing but silence. I sat behind the front desk, scrolling through my phone, half watching the security feed. That's when the front desk phone rang. The screen said, "Room 313. I stared at it, confused. We only had 3 floors, rooms 301 to 3112, no 313. I checked the system, no such room listed, but the phone kept ringing. Curious, I picked up. Before I could say anything, a woman's voice whispered, "Please, come upstairs. He won't stop knocking." Then the line went dead. 11:45 p.m., the 3rd floor. I took the elevator to the 3rd floor, phone flashlight on, heart racing. All the room numbers were as expected, 301, 302, 312. The hallway ended there. But something was off. The air was heavier, like it hadn't been breathed in years. I heard something, 3 knocks, slow and steady, coming from behind the wall at the end of the hall. And then I saw it. A door. Where there should have been a wall, there was now a door labeled 313 in rusted numbers. It looked old, older than the rest of the building. Wood swollen, handle tarnished. The kind of door you see in your dreams and hope never to open. And yet, I knocked. No answer. I tried the knob. It turned. Inside room 313. The door creaked open to darkness. No lights, no windows. Just cold, damp air and the sound of something dripping. "Hello?" I called. Silence. Then the lights flickered on, dim and yellow, revealing a small, dusty room with faded wallpaper and an old bed. The bed was made perfectly, as if expecting someone. A single chair faced the corner, turned away from me. And then I saw her. A woman stood in the corner, facing the wall. Pale, hair tangled, dressed in a long gray nightgown that touched the floor. She didn't move. I felt a chill rush down my spine. I got a call," I managed to say. Are you okay?" Still nothing. I took a cautious step forward. Then she spoke, without turning. "He's coming back, and he doesn't like strangers." The door slams. Suddenly, the door behind me slammed shut. I turned and ran to it, locked. I pounded and shouted, but no one answered. I turned back toward the woman, but the room was empty now. Chair still there, bed untouched, but no sign of her. Then I heard the knocking, not from the door, but from inside the closet. 3 knocks, slow, deliberate. I backed away, my breath was shaking. The closet door creaked open on its own. Darkness, nothing inside. Then I saw it, a handprint on the wall inside. Not made of blood or dirt, but pressed inward, like the wall itself had swallowed a hand. And then I heard it again, the woman's voice right behind me. "Too late. You opened the door." Blackout. The lights went out, pitch black. I turned my phone's flashlight on, but it only showed static, like the lens was fogged or broken. Then I saw a shape, tall, thin, moving toward me. I backed into the wall, heart thundering. The shape stopped inches from me. I could feel its breath, hot, rotten. It whispered one word in a voice that wasn't human. "Stay." 3 a.m., front desk. I woke up in the lobby, sprawled behind the desk. The phone was ringing again. I answered, dazed. "Front desk," I muttered. Silence. Then the same woman's voice. He liked you. Click. I rushed to the 3rd floor. No door. No room 313. The hallway ended at 312 like it always had. But sometimes, when I walk past that wall, I swear I hear knocking from the other side. 3 knocks. Slow. Steady. Waiting for me to open the door again.